Let me raise a couple of the other questions that have come in. One person writes, do you think that the desensitization to tragedies and violence that people can experience also plays a role in the way people talk about the Holocaust today? Like there's a kind of general desensitization to tragedy, and that affects how people view the Holocaust.
Absolutely. And then there goes another question of, well, how do we curb that? You can't resensitize a whole society. There is a philosopher, I'm going to forget who it was, a philosopher who writes, and even, I would have to say Camus for the readers out there, touches on it. The idea of how do you reform whole societies and ways of thought? And sometimes the only way is for another atrocity to take place. And isn't that a sad commentary? That we actually have to witness. Now, what has happened? There has been atrocity after atrocity since the Holocaust. Nothing has changed. Even Elie Wiesel himself said, we all believed that the anti-Semitism would disappear with Auschwitz, but it didn't. It's only become exacerbated by Auschwitz. So there is something fundamentally wrong with the absent parts of the conversations that we are having. There's the things nobody wants to discuss. And sometimes, as I mentioned, I think that they're being extracted because let's not talk, that's too Jewish. We shouldn't talk about that with non-Jews, or let's not talk about Jewish issues because our viewers, and I get this a lot, Israel Forever, for example, our materials are open for use by any population, but they are written with the integrity of Jewish rights, Jewish identity, and Jewish experience, Jewish history. I think that we have to stop apologizing for it. And I think when it comes to the Holocaust, that is essential. I actually see here the next question, a question about the Holocaust as a joke, okay, as whether or not it's able to be used against us. Absolutely, because Nazi became popularized as a common slur by the soup Nazi on Seinfeld, and Seinfeld's a Jew, and there was the whole episode of Jews being able to say that because they're curb your enthusiasm. You name it, there's a comedian out there who has said it. So humor actually during the Holocaust was a very fascinating element of survival. It's a whole other area of discussion. But what are we seeing? Humor is now being manipulated also against us. So yeah, I can tell you that factual statements are being extracted and taken out of context very easily. And in the world of the internet, what are we going? We're going to police everybody because then we are the Jewish Nazis they're claiming us to be. See that line right there? Imagine somebody takes that out right there.
Right. I mean, we know this is going on where people take videos, edit somebody, whether it's a presidential candidate, a president, whoever, and can now edit it and change videos and make changes so it sounds like somebody is saying one thing when they said something completely different. But there's no way, you're saying there's no way to stop that.
It's not that I don't believe there's a way to stop it. I think that the ways that do exist to stop it, unfortunately, have their own existing partisan bias, shall we say, or social justice slant, shall we say. And so they are suffering the same ills as Holocaust history, that they are not finding a way to police across the spectrum. You might be tagged for anything you say against an Arab, Islam, but you can say anything about a Jew or Israel. You can, so, is there a way? Increased policing is not the answer if it's done in a systematic method by fact checkers who are going to, I don't know if it's happened to you, but very often on Facebook, for example, we'll share information and I will have factual details shared will be taken off of Facebook for being misinformation. So we have to counter it. If you go into Wikipedia and you search, you will find random references where it has been edited, because Wikipedia can be edited by anybody. You will find places where random bits have been added that distort the facts, that distort the message towards usually an anti-Zionist, anti-Israel agenda. or again, the global universalized comparisons that we're seeing, those types of things, that's somebody that what I call an armchair activist can do. You know, you're at home. I have a dear, dear friend who's unfortunately many years, you know, she's very much at home with an illness. And so she spends all of her time researching on Quora and on Reddit and finding places these conversations are happening where she can report them or she can counter them. I have no idea how she has the strength to do it. I personally, and I've been an activist all my years, but it's exhausting and it is painful. We are in every response that is emotionally charged, by the way, it only feeds the hate further. So we need to make sure that everybody has facts in their pocket and strength and courage through which they can find their voice to speak.
We are running out of time, but I want to emphasize a couple of things here, which I think your message is so powerful. Is your message is one of empowerment to us, to the viewer, to say we can do what, or we should be doing what we can to counter this on an individual basis. When we hear what our students are being taught in school, when we hear somebody in an elevator, we should be empowered to use our voice to defend the historical accuracy. And
I want to suggest that even if you hear of it happening somewhere else, turn to a teacher, turn to a community leader, say, here's something that's happening elsewhere. How do we prevent this from happening in our community? How can we do more? The Holocaust has lessons for everybody. And we have an obligation to teach them, but if we strip them of their depth, we are teaching nothing. And then we are truly forgetting the dead again. And that is a shame.
Well, that might be a good way to finish. I thank you so much for sharing this and for empowering us to go out and use our voices. And I thank all of you for watching today. Thank you very much, Elana.
Thank you so much for having me.
Take care, everybody. Thank you.